introduction because he called my wife beautiful, but he didn't say anything about how I look.
You don't want to know.
Yeah, there's a lot to the story about how Amanda and I ended up, but the truth is I tricked her into marrying me, and we've had almost 20 years of marital, I would say bliss. She would say sometimes good, sometimes bad, hopefully mostly good. And we have 3 children. Lucas, who's 15. Lucas is 16. Man, that makes me feel old. I don't like to say that. 16. Jason is 13. Jessica is 9, and she is the troublemaker. She runs the roost. She calls her brothers my boys, so that you know what she thinks about everything. And we are really tickled to be here in Florida with you. I tell you what, I love the sunshine state. I don't know what kind of curse you guys played on us, but Tracy was talking about how he was going to get to the airport. He said something about building an ark. So we flew into Orlando. We've been here. We've enjoyed being here. I was curious about something. When I got here, I thought, this is a great group, and I'd really like to be a part of the ministry team. The only problem is I felt like I had too much hair here, and maybe not enough here. Sorry, Tracy. Everything's competition. Anyway, it's a pleasure, an absolute honor for me to be here with you all this morning. I've done ministry since I was very young. My dad was a joy bus minister back in the 70s. They used to get school buses and paint them different colors, go get kids and bring them to church. We lived in Tulsa, Oklahoma. My mom was the secretary for the Memorial Drive Church of Christ there under Terry Rush. Helped to start the Tulsa Soul Winning Workshop, the International Soul Winning Workshop, for those of you that know that. I've been in the Church of Christ since I was, as they say, knee-high to a grasshopper back in Oklahoma. And have been in ministry all my life. I've done preaching ever since I was a little kid. My wife and I have done full-time ministry work before I became a chiropractor. We've done youth ministry work all over. I was a pulpit minister in Delta, Colorado. And we did short-time missions work in Fort Defiance, Arizona on the Native American reservation, Hawaii, Japan, Hong Kong, China, New Zealand, Australia, and the Philippines. So I've been around Asia a lot. Haven't spent as much time in Europe, but hopefully someday we'll get over there too. Love to do mission work, love the work of the gospel. Because I truly believe that God, our God, the God that saved us, deserves to be glorified in every corner of the earth. Anybody else agree with that? Amen. Good. Then we can get along. It was 1999. And I was, I know. So, whoa, I heard somebody say that. Thanks. It's probably one of these guys down here. In 1999, I was the minister at the Delta Church of Christ in Delta, Colorado. I shouldn't probably say the name of the church because of the story that I'm going to tell, but I was the minister there at the Delta Church. I preached this sermon that I thought was amazing. It was a great sermon to me. I mean, it was a sermon on sin, and we were dealing with sin, and there was problems in the church, and I wanted to help them solve these problems. And I had this impassioned plea for us to deal with these sins. And afterwards, I stood up there as we sang that invitation song, expecting people to come forward. And I was so excited for that. And nobody came. Until after I was done. And I see this brigade of 4 little old ladies with one man out in front of them coming up. And I'm thinking, all right, somebody wants to talk to me. We're going to counsel. We're going to deal with some stuff. And the man comes up to me and he kind of messes with his collar a little bit. He says, we have a problem. Since then I've learned, if you ever see 4 little old ladies with a man, you run out the exit door or jump in the baptistry, you get away. He says, we have a problem. We don't think that you should be our minister. I said, well, why not? He said, because you were given a sermon, and during that sermon, you said yada, yada, yada from the pulpit. I said, I did? He goes, yeah, you said you were talking about different types of sins, and you said drinking and gambling and gossiping and yada, yada, yada. And he said, we don't think you should be our minister. I said, well, why not? He said, because that phrase comes from Seinfeld. And if you watch Seinfeld, you don't have the highest moral character, and you don't need to be our minister. I said, well, I've never even watched Seinfeld. I said, but that expression is Yiddish. It's practically Jewish. That means I'm speaking a religious language here. But the question is, how do you know that's from Seinfeld? I'll never forget his answer. He looked at me straight in the eye and he said, Brother Dopps, that's code for you're in trouble. Brother Dopps, we aren't the minister. We're not held to the same standard you are. You are supposed to be an example to us of how to behave. Well, I was just dumb. I was punched in the stomach. I was dumbfounded. I couldn't believe he actually said that to me. I was just shocked. I said something to them about, there's no priest between you and God. And I had a great answer for them about 3 hours later. And so I went home and watched Seinfeld, and then... but I just thought to myself, isn't that the problem we have with the church today? I mean, if we take our halos off this morning, isn't the problem we have that everybody believes the ministers are the ones that do the work? Isn't it that everybody believes the ministers are supposed to be the holy ones and everybody else is just, can come to church on Sunday morning? There is a great apathy grabbing our country, grabbing our hearts, grabbing our minds. There's a great apathy that is settling on us like a heavy weight, choking the life out of Christianity. And you can feel it everywhere. And it's not just in Christianity. This is a cultural apathy. I mean, haven't you felt the change? Those of you that have been around longer than 16 years. Haven't you felt the change? And probably even you guys have seen it. And do you remember when you used to walk into a store and people were glad you were there? I went into Chick-fil-A the other day. Chick-fil-A is like the epitome of cheerfulness, right? My pleasure, my pleasure. That's all they say, right? I went in there and there's a lady there, she's like, welcome to Chick-fil-A. How you doing? What do you want? It's like, I want to smile? It's terrible. Everywhere you go. I have a 16-year-old now. Oh, well, that hurts, man. I know. Some of you are out there going, oh, young kid, just wait till they're 35. I don't want them to be 30. I want them to stop. It needs to stop right here. He's 16. He does not care about getting a driver's license. I mean, what in the world? When I was 16, I was there, it was like 12:01 on my birthday, a.m., and I was waiting in line to get my driver's license. He doesn't care. Nobody cares about things. And that apathy is everywhere, and it's destroying us. In 2 Corinthians, we're called to be the aroma of Christ, are we not? We're called to be ambassadors of Christ. We are called to be his hands and feet. Matthew 28 is that famous verse. We all know Matthew 28. Let's go there. Verse 19, you can probably recite it with me if you were raised in the church. Therefore, go ahead if you know it. Go and make disciples of who? All nations, baptizing them in what? The name of Father, Son, Holy Spirit, teaching them to obey everything I've commanded you, and surely I'm with you always to the very end of the age. Now, we know that verse. We've heard that verse a million times. We've heard that verse so much that we just think it's just another verse. But this is the last thing that Jesus says to his disciples before he goes up. Man and I just went on a trip. Before we left, what did we say to our kids? What's the very last thing you say to your kids when you leave on a trip? I heard it. What was that? I love you. Why? Because it's the most important thing you want your kids to remember you saying before you leave, right? Right? Yes. Okay, so I did this with the teens. I'm going to have to do this with you guys too. All right, so there's 3 responses anytime I ask a question, all right? First response is this. Second response is, third response is, huh? All right, so it's one of those 3, all right? Either yes, no, or huh? All right. We leave people with the most important things. Jesus calls us to participate in the redemption of the world. And the time to act is now. And I'm just going to say this. Brothers and sisters, we have too many people copping out, saying it's not my job. It's not my gift. I mean, I'm gifted at support things, like I can, have hospitality, as if somehow that excuses you from the Great Commission. But it doesn't. The Great Commission is not what we do right here at the pulpit. You understand that? Like, most people think this is the Great Commission. And yes, this is part of proclaiming the Word. But why am I up here? Why is Tracy up here every day? He's not up here to evangelize and do it for you. You understand that? We do most of our activities in Christianity by proxy, don't we? It's like, I don't want to go actually have to help somebody. I'll just give to an organization and they can do the work. Right? Because I'm busy. I got things going on. My kids have activities. I've got to work, and I've got things going on. And at night, I deserve to watch a little bit of Big Brother now and then, right? And so we do most of our giving by proxy. We do the same thing with our evangelism. We think that if we bring somebody to church, then they'll get evangelized from the pulpit. But the purpose of the pulpit is for us to give you encouragement so you can do the work. Yes. That's what this is about. And millennials are fleeing like rats off a sinking ship, rats off the Titanic. Did you know that? The latest figures show that 88 to 95% of our youth will leave our churches by the time they graduate college. Now, I don't know about you. That scares me. That frightens me. J. Warner Wallace wrote a book called Cold Case Christianity. Just did an update in January of this year. He says this. Much has been written both about the biblical literacy of teenagers, biblical illiteracy of teenagers. I'm going to actually apply that to everybody. The biblical illiteracy of us. And the flight of young people from the church. And the growing statistics should alarm us. The de facto dominant religion amongst contemporary U.S. teenagers is moralistic, therapeutic deism. What in the world does that mean? It means this. They believe that God exists and ordered the universe and then just stepped back and kind of let it go. And all he wants is for people to be good and nice and fair to each other and not judge, accept each other. And this God can be found in a multitude of religions. And the central goal of this God is for our lives to be happy and for us to have good self-esteem, and then good people will go to heaven when they die. Is that the God from the Bible? Some of you remembered. Some of you forgot. All right, but I like that. I'm getting some responses because that is not the God of the Bible. And what happens is when we start to have kind of this feel-good idea of God, we start to have converts, but not disciples. And we become nominal in our Christianity. What happens is Christianity becomes this wonderful security blanket. It's this amazing parachute. See, what's happened is we've mixed up the American dream with the Christian God, and we've created this weird religion where basically we try to have our best lives now, and then if something goes bad, we have God we can rely on, or if we die, at least we know we're going to heaven. So we work really hard on this idea of the house with the white picket fence and the 2.5 kids, and we build these dreams of power and money and success and wealth and dressing nice and all this stuff, and then we have God as kind of like the cherry on top of our sundae. And we have a bunch of people that love the security of Christ, but they don't want to submit to Christ's demands on their life. And what does he say in Luke? Luke chapter 14. Turn there with me. Luke chapter 14. It's after Mark, before John, one of those gospel things. Luke chapter 14 here. This is how Jesus describes following him. Verse 25. Large crowds were traveling with Jesus, and turning to them, he said, I want you to hear this. If anyone comes to me and does not hate his father and mother, his wife and children, his brothers and sisters, even his own life, he cannot be my disciple. And anyone who does not carry his cross and follow me cannot be my disciple. You understand, this is before Jesus went to the cross. I mean, Jesus is talking to these guys, and he's saying, look, you've got to pick up a cross. You've got to die. And sometimes those deaths are horrible and disgusting and bloody and terrible. And you've got to die if you want to follow me. And then he goes on to talk about counting the costs and how you don't start building a building unless you know what all you need, right? Because otherwise, you don't finish it and everybody makes fun of you. He calls us to act, and the problem is this. We think Christianity is this passive religion that just makes our lives better. But instead, Christianity is a radical departure from the culture around us. It's a radical religion. Amen. God does not want you to have your best life now. God wants you to give your whole life to Him. Yes. We have been forgiven for so much. We are adopted. I have a sister, her name was Danielle. She was adopted. I was 16. My parents wanted to have another kid, but they had gone through certain procedures that made that biologically impossible. So what they did was they decided to adopt a little girl. She was saved actually out of her mom was going to have an abortion, and they had a bunch of abortion protests in Wichita, and one of the counselors talked with her and saved Danielle's life. I remember going to that hospital. I was so scared when we were going to go pick her up because I had no idea what she was going to look like. I had no idea about what she was going to be, and I was just, I wanted her to be perfect. I was 16, and she was my little sister. I was so excited. And I remember my mom, not my wife, that was Freudian, sorry, honey. My mom sits down in a chair, and she's got this little bundle, right? And they had her all wrapped up like a little burrito, in those pink and blue blankets, and she's sitting there. And I look over, and I'm like, I didn't know that all babies were ugly. I had no idea. She had this squished nose like this from going through that Play-Doh Fun Factory of Life, and my dad for a week was trying to get her nose back down. But she was my sister instantly. She was not kind of a Dopps. She was not kind of, my half-sister. She was my sister. She had all the privileges and responsibilities of my family. If my dad dies, she's on the will because she's an adopted member of our family. She is a Dopps. My mom would always say, when I would go out when I was 16, when I had my car, she'd say, remember, you're a Dopps. I come from a family of 30 chiropractors and medical doctors. There's 30 doctors in my family, all in Wichita, Kansas. You can imagine what Thanksgiving's like. We sit around and crack each other up. Sorry. I warned them I was going to use that joke. They only heard that 5 times this weekend. But they always say, be a Dopps, because what I did reflected upon my family. You see, you have been adopted. According to Ephesians chapter 2, verse 19, we are adopted. We're told that in Galatians that while we were enemies of Christ, He adopted us. We are made co-heirs with Christ. We deserved hell, and He adopted us. And isn't that so beautiful? Isn't that such an amazing thing? We were chosen. Not because of anything we did, but in spite of everything we did, we were chosen. Have anybody of you ever seen that movie, The Princess Diaries, with Anne Hathaway? Right? So she's this kind of mousy-looking, goofy-looking girl. Go rent it. I think it's a classic now. I mean, it's over 10 years. So go rent it. It's a story about a mousy young girl that then finds out she's this princess, right? And I know you're like me. I know when you were a kid and you were bad and your mom spanked you with a wooden spoon or put you in the corner. She put me in the corner. There was this picture of Jesus in the corner. I'd stand there and I'd look up at Jesus and just think about how I disappointed him. You've done that. And you always thought to yourself, I'll show you. One day my real parents are going to come back, and they're going to be a king or queen. I'm going to be a prince. You thought those types of things. What if I was adopted? And my real parents were royalty. That's what's happened with us. Isn't that amazing? I mean, you are the child of the King of the universe. Yes. Anybody watch The Royal Wedding? Harry and Meghan. Some of you are not ashamed to admit you did. And you watch that royal wedding, and you think about all the royalty that were there that were family. I love that picture of Meghan standing there and the Queen's going, obviously not approving. But if you think about it, we've got this huge royal wedding coming up where Christ comes back for his bride in church. And our job is to invite relatives to be a part of that. We're like Ed McMahon with the Publishers Clearinghouse sweepstakes. Remember that? Some of you who are older remember that, where they come to the house with the big check and all the balloons. You get $100,000 a month for life. Right? But we get to give something so much better than that. And the stakes are so much higher. See, your job is to go out and find your brothers and sisters and bring them back to the family. On the Titanic, they had a lot of lifeboats, actually. They didn't have enough, but they had a lot. They could have saved a lot more people. You know why they didn't? Did you know that some of the upper class people on the Titanic actually would get on the lifeboats and then put them out before they were even half full? Did you know that? That's crazy, isn't it? They could have saved so many more people if they just would have said, hey, come over here. Here's the lifeboat. And here's the problem. The world that we're on is the Titanic. I mean, it is sinking. It is going down. You don't have to be 40 to see it. You guys can see it. Everybody knows there's problems and something's wrong. Everybody knows we're falling apart. Everybody knows when they see the news and they see the school shooters and they see all the problems with sexuality and they see all the things that used to be called sin, now we're called. We all see that the ship's going down, don't we? We see it. And we know where the lifeboats are. But we're not pointing people to them, are we? And that's our job. And it's not the minister's job, it's yours. It's your job. Look, I am nobody. I am nobody. Neither is Tracy. We're no different than any of you. Just because I stand up here and speak, and this is the gift that God's given me to use, that doesn't make me any different than you. The difference between me and you, if you're not doing what God has called you to do, is this. I drive down the road and I look at those cars and I say, these people are going to hell. And who's going to tell them? Who's going to tell them? I mean, aren't you tired of being part of the problem? Part of the apathy? I know I am. I'm just tired of it. I'm sick of just being another lump on a pew. Someone who just says they're a Christ follower, but my life is centered around my job and my kids and my own pleasures and my recreation and my money and my activities. And all the while, people are drowning in an icy sea, and I'm so worried about how I feel and what I'm doing. I mean, aren't you just so tired of that? How many of you just thought to yourself, really? I mean, is this all there is to this Christian thing? I mean, is it just another activity so that I can feel safe when I die and feel comforted when my grandmother dies? I mean, is this it? Because I don't really feel much different than my neighbors or my coworkers. Christianity is not about your best life now. Christianity is about radical change for God's glory and for the sake of everyone around us. I look in this book. I see men whose lives were turned upside down. I see men whose lives were completely dedicated to Christ, who sacrificed everything. I see people whose lives were torn apart, who lost their lives, who were beaten, who were made fun of, who had no wealth. They had nothing. I see people whose whole world were dedicated to Christ, and they considered it joy. Why? Because they understood something, and that is this, that this right here, this is not what it's all about. We sing that song about how I can't feel at home in this world anymore, right? This world is not my home. I'm just passing through. My treasures are laid up where? Somewhere beyond the blue. So why do we cling so tightly to all that we have here? Why are we so worried about our own comfort? My son one time said, I don't want to go to church, Dad. I don't like going there. I said, son, you're not going to church for you. He said, what? I said, yeah, you're not going to church for you. You're going to church for what you do for other people. We spend so much time saying, I don't like this church because they don't have the kind of worship I like. I don't like this church because, man, they have the air conditioner up too high. I don't like this church because they have a kitchen. I don't have a church because they have many cups instead of one cup. These are all reasons churches have split. I don't like this church because Derin preaches too long and we're not going to beat the Baptists to lunch. Busted, some of you didn't. All kinds of reasons why we have let the churches split when we don't realize we're not there for us. We're there for everybody else. Let me tell you something. This isn't Christianity. This is part. This is 1%. Christianity is not going to church Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night. That's an important thing. We want you here. Why? Because we strengthen each other to do the job we have out there. Yes. This is the briefing room. This is the hospital, the infirmary. That's what this is. And then we go out and do the job we're supposed to. Why were the early church in daily fellowship with one another? They were in daily fellowship with one another because they were doing a mission. They had a job. They had a task. They had a purpose. They had a movement. I'm so thankful for the elders here. I didn't get to meet Mike, but I had a wild time with Joe, and the devil's not quite as young as I thought he was. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry. Preacher jokes. It's all going to be fun. But these men have this vision. They want to see things change. They're not satisfied with you coming here and just playing church on Sunday morning. They want us to be active. They want you to go out into your community and be a part. Let me tell you, there's a man named Penn Jillette. Anybody know who Penn Jillette is? Penn and Teller. Anybody heard of Penn and Teller? Magicians out in Las Vegas. Penn is an ardent atheist. Big time. And he's way against Christians. They have a show that's on Showtime called Penn and Teller B, and I can't say the rest of it. And they attack things, and they attack Christianity in several of their shows. Ardent atheist. One time he had a guy come up to him, and he said, I've been to 3 of your last shows, and I've had to try to get the courage to come up to you. I'm really afraid you're going to go to hell. Here's a Bible. Penn was telling this to his atheist friends. They started making fun of that guy. And Penn said, wait a second. He said, I actually admire that guy. You know why? Because he really believes I'm going to hell. He said, so many Christians will just tell me you're going to hell. They won't try to help me. How much do you have to hate somebody to believe they're going to hell but not try to save them? I had a thing of Tic Tacs in my Bible cover. I was going to bring them up here, I forgot. But let's say I had a thing of Tic Tacs, and I knew for a fact that this thing of Tic Tacs, well, I got a neat pen right here. All right? If I draw on you, if I just make a mark with you on this, it's going to cure cancer. Did you know that? Oh yeah, I was there at the lab when they did it. All I have to do is make a mark on you, it's going to cure cancer. Now, I want to come and mark on you with my pen, all right? So I'm going to, no, I'm just kidding, I'm actually not. You look scared though, that's good. Let me ask you a question. If I really believed that, would I tell people? many of you would believe me if I told you this pen was going to cure cancer? Oh, you guys don't want to answer that one. Not very many of you would believe me. If I really knew it to be the truth, do you think that's going to stop me? What if you make fun of me? Would I still try to mark you? Man, I'd be like kamikaze. I'm going to do whatever. Come up behind you. You're good. You know, I'm going to do that because I know for a fact this cures cancer. Look, we're not talking about cancer. We're talking about an eternity of people lost and separated by God. The Bible says no one comes to the Father except through the Son. No one. Not all religions go to the same place. There is a truth, and that truth is Jesus Christ is the Son of God, and He, and faith in Him and repentance, that is what saves us. He saves us not because of anything we do, but because of everything He did. Why are we sharing that? Why are we so scared about what people are going to think? Well, it's time for me to wrap up. But before we do, I just want to take you to Revelation 3. Revelation 3. What happens in Revelation 3? It's letters to those churches, you remember? And you remember that church? We know that church well, Laodicea. Anybody remember that church? He says what? Because you are neither hot nor cold, I'm going to, and the Greek is stronger than spit, I'm going to vomit you out of my mouth because you are lukewarm. My son Lucas hates that verse, lukewarm. I tell him it's a good thing. There's no such thing as a good thing being lukewarm. He says, man, if you were hot, I could work with you. If you were cold, I could work with you, but you're lukewarm. I can't do anything with you. Are we lukewarm? I don't want to be. When I get up there, I want Jesus to look at me and say, well done, my good and faithful servant. I don't want Jesus to look at me and say, man, you had so many opportunities and you sat there and watched Survivor. You had so many opportunities and you watched football and all the time. There's nothing wrong with watching shows. There's nothing wrong with going to games. There's nothing wrong with being a success unless that is the Lord of your life. And brothers and sisters, I know in my life sometimes it is. And I know with you it is, too. We've got to get our priorities straight. We've got to view the world as a place where people are lost. It is time to do something about it. Do something. I don't care if you mess it up. Do something. I don't care if you don't know the right words. Do something. I don't care if you don't have a clue what to do. Do something. I'd rather you try to do something and mess up a little bit than do nothing and ensure people are going to hell. My dad used to say it's better to be thought an idiot than to open your mouth and remove all doubt. He'd always say that to me for some reason. I'm saying it's better to do something and fail than just to sit there and know people are going to hell. Hell. I was thinking of the fruit stand. Then people going to hell. The world is lost. We are the aroma of Christ. What do you smell? If you don't know Jesus, man, this is not a game we're talking about. This is not just one phase of your life. We're talking about eternity. We're talking about this moment where you can come and be a member of the body of Christ right now. We're talking about a moment where you can be joined together with Jesus. You can be adopted. This is the adoption ceremony we're talking about. We're talking about that moment where you become eternally secure. You know, I am a member of the household of God. We're talking about the moment where you become a child of Jesus forever. Why are you wasting your whole life not acting? Now is the day that you get salvation. Become part of this, and then help me and others of this church spread that gospel out there. Come forward. Come now. Let's stand.